Welcome back to Glory Glory Podcast with me, Kyle, and joining me again today is Brush. How's it going, Brush?
I've seen better days.
Yeah, it was a total disaster today. 4-0 down at half time and we lost 6-3. I knew this game could turn into a thrashing. It has done many times against City, but we kind of, given the recent form, we deluded ourselves into thinking that we could maybe win 2-1 or 2-0 on the counter attack today, but like we did many times on the Solskjaer, but that clearly was not on the cards at all. And especially with the best player in the world at the moment playing up front for Man City, it was very, very unlikely. So a Manchester City player hasn't scored a hat trick in this fixture since 1970, Franny Lee, and then they got two in one game today. It was so embarrassing. But and the only consolation is that it wasn't another 6-1. We got a couple of goals at the end to put more respectability on the scoreline, but other than that, it was just an absolutely awful day. So, what was your thoughts on the game, Brush?
Where to begin? I mean, it wasn't the best preparation going into this one, obviously, with everything that happened and our previous two fixtures being postponed. So to come into a fixture like this with all that and on the back of the international break, it was always going to be difficult. Um, but yeah, when I looked at the team lineup beforehand, I didn't really have too many complaints, if I'm honest with you. I thought that was probably the right lineup. I thought we were set up perfectly to hit them on the counter, and I thought that's how it was going to be. But yeah, from the get go, we were in second gear. They absolutely dominated. Um, that first half, Dallo picked up a yellow card. 2 minutes in? That was a sign of things to come. The passing was absolutely atrocious. They bypassed the midfield very easily. Um, Malacia needlessly picked up a yellow as well because of a Rashford mistake, mispassing balls. Um, yeah, at half time, was just sat there thinking, God, geez, this could be 8 or 9. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so it was everything that could have went bad the first half. I also noticed that a lot of people walked out and stuff as well at half time. Second half, we responded. It still wasn't great, but there was signs of life in little moments. But overall, yeah. What more is there to say?
Yeah, I suppose we have to look at it this way, that this is probably the best City team there's ever been, and it's certainly not the best United team that there's ever been. Because
Yeah, I mean that's what we have to take into consideration. Like for me, going into this one, it was always just to gauge where we were. We're very early into this process, very early, and this was the test to see exactly where we were. And now we know. This is a team that we're up against who are Premier League champions for a reason. They've won back-to-back titles without a striker. Now they've gone and added arguably the best striker in the world to their team. Absolute machine. Third hat trick in 8 games. Looking at the statistics, it's unreal. I think the closest one is Michael Owen, who took 48 games to get 3 hat tricks.
yeah, I think Van Nistelrooy was 59 games or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I was reading the stats of, I saw a whole bunch today. It took Luis Suarez 71. This kid has done it in 14 goals now in like 9 games. It's ridiculous.
yeah, he's just an absolute freak.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. The fact that he's such a freak, like we haven't even mentioned Phil Foden
yeah,
yet.
they got a match ball each, and they weren't playing
Yeah,
against Brentford or Bournemouth. They're playing against United.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's
It was,
yeah,
it was a terrible day at the office.
yeah. Listen, when it was 6-1, I'm sure you felt the same. I just got flashbacks in my head of Mario Balotelli revealing that shirt with the message that says "Why always me?"
Yeah, at 6-1, I was counting my lucky
Yeah,
stars that I wasn't there today, like I was for
yeah,
the
yeah.
6-1 in
Ah,
2011.
jeez, jeez. Yeah,
Yeah, but it could have ended up 6-4 in the end.
yeah, yeah. It was proper crazy, proper crazy. I think the thing is though, I think they took their foot off the gas uh when we started to get look like, well, I can't say get back into it, but when we scored.
Yeah, you touched on United being really poor in terms of the passing, and they
Mm,
were particularly the front players in the midfield. They were
yes, yes,
horrendous. They
yes.
couldn't string more than 3 passes together.
No, they
For
really couldn't. I thought Rashford was terrible today. His
yeah,
passing, just all over the place. I can only put it down to the fact that perhaps he's not fully fit. And it's kind of telling that Eric would rather play a half fit Rashford over a fully fit Ronaldo. I think that is a clear signal from him that that it's done for him.
yeah, and what Ten Hag said after the game
Mm,
was pretty telling as well.
yeah. The
He,
other key thing for us, I was dreading an injury to Varane, and it's happened.
it has, yeah. I think he sprained his ankle. Hopefully, it's not too
Yeah,
serious.
yeah.
Was
The way he was out on the floor, that he was out for ages. It didn't look good. Um, yeah, so that was concerning. The midfield balance I thought was all wrong. Um,
yeah,
so
he,
in hindsight, on paper, I thought no, it's fine the way it's set up. But yeah, there was just no one with any sort of defensive inkling in that. And McTominay had a terrible game today. Ericsson as well when he's playing deeper. I don't know. I don't like it when he's deeper.
yeah. Ericsson didn't track the run of Foden for the first
No,
goal.
no, no.
McTominay had a string of decent games, keeping
Mm,
Casemiro out of the team, but
mm.
he was exposed today badly
Yeah,
by a world
very
class
badly
midfield.
exposed. Yes, very badly exposed. And the thing is, I think a few of us were getting excited as well at the start because we knew that Rodri was out, and we couldn't capitalize on that at all.
No, we couldn't. It just didn't really matter in the end. The
No,
main,
no, it made no difference. So that was shocking. The only positives I can take, I mean, the goal by Anthony, something out of nothing, moment of magic. Martial, the fact that he's come on and he's made an impact, I'm happy with that. Hopefully that will give him some confidence. We know that the talent is there. It's always been the other issues, so just have to keep him fit.
well, that was our regular 11 today, and they were torn apart. So I
Yeah.
imagine there's now going to be changes for the next game. And what I would suggest right away would be Casemiro coming in for McTominay. I would probably drop Rashford and Sancho and bring in Martial and Ronaldo probably. I wouldn't be surprised now to see Luke Shaw start the next Premier League game ahead of Martial, who had a very poor game
Yeah,
today.
yeah, Malacia struggled. Malacia struggled. Obviously, that yellow card didn't help either. And again, it was other people's mistakes which led to his yellow card because he had to go diving in the way he did. Yeah, yeah. But again, listen, this is a kid who's only had 2 seasons of top flight football under his belt before he's come here. So this is a big step up from the Eredivisie.
Yeah, I'm not writing him off by any means,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
there was always going to be a point in the season where he was going
yeah.
to struggle, and Luke Shaw would probably come back in, and I think that time might be now.
Mm,
Dallo struggled as well in this game. He's booked after 90 seconds, and
yes.
he
Very
potentially could.
lucky to stay on the pitch as well because there was another one where he gave away a foul, I thought, and he didn't get booked.
Yeah, when City started to go up through the gears, United just couldn't cope with them. It
Nah,
was
not at all.
even
Also, there was the Gundogan free kick as well that hit the bar.
yeah.
De Gea couldn't do nothing about that. If that was on target, that was in.
Yeah, I think the writing was on the wall when there was a
Yeah,
bit of a goal mouth scramble at 0-0. I think
yeah, yes. It was like pinball, wasn't it? It was amazing actually that we kept that one out.
yeah,
When
De
it
Gea
fell to
made a save,
Haaland,
McTominay made a
saved,
block.
then yeah, then it fell to De Bruyne and save again, stopped. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's worrying that that was our first choice back four, and we conceded six.
Yeah, yeah. Haaland's headed goal. That was when Varane was off the field as well, isn't it? So yeah, all kind of organisation at the back was gone. I think it was Ericsson in the end that was trying to pick him up, and obviously didn't.
Oh no, no,
It was just an absolute
no,
shambles.
no.
Uh,
Ten Hag was asked about that, and
yeah,
he says it had nothing to do with him. Ericsson
yeah,
marking Haaland. So what the
yeah,
hell's going
yeah.
on?
Yeah, I
You
can
know,
only assume it's because Varane went off the field and there was a bit of confusion there. Because had Raf been there, he would have been the one, right? So yeah,
yeah, I don't think that was fair that we had to defend
yeah,
that corner with Varane
yeah,
off the
yeah,
pitch.
with 10 men, yeah, and without one of our leading centre back, and this was one of the few occasions where you saw what the height differential meant. Like there was one ball where Martinez, it was crossed in. If Martinez had been a bit taller, he would have been able to cut it out.
Yeah,
The one that was whipped in, I was like, jeez. Oh,
yeah. Martinez at times he's big crosses come into the box. He's
yeah,
going to struggle.
yeah,
And Varane's off the pitch. Then we really are light in terms of height. We're
yeah.
not a
See,
particularly
like,
tall team anyway.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that, in games like this, I think you probably have to try and counter that. Like he's very comfortable on the left hand side of a back three, but you might have to go to that in games like this to make up for that shortfall, for lack of a better word.
Yeah. So, what do you make of Shaw's 45 minutes? Do you think he was pretty decent, wasn't he?
Yeah, he looked all right. He looked all right. Yeah, it's hard to find good points from today, but yeah, I mean, listen, he'll be looking at the World Cup and that as well, and he'll want to get minutes under his belt going into that. So I'm sure he'll be up for the fight, and we're going to need him as well because with the Europa games and the fixtures coming thick and fast. I think in the next couple of weeks we've got a game every 4 days. I had
Yeah.
a quick glance at the fixture list, and it was literally between There's about a week where we've got a game every 4 days. Yeah,
Yeah, I think of 8 games left in October.
yeah,
So
yeah. It's
crazy.
ridiculous. So yeah, so rotation is going to come into play.
As long as it doesn't involve Harry Maguire, I'm okay.
The funny thing, well, I mean, now that Varane's out, Lindelof's in. We need a fit Harry Maguire on the bench just in case.
Just in case what? I mean, what scenario would possibly call for that? I would rather Casemiro play at centre
Uh,
back, to be honest with
uh,
you.
well, listen, I'd rather Casemiro started.
Yeah, it has to happen now. It has to.
It has to, yeah. If it doesn't happen now, then I'm gonna have to go back to my initial thoughts that I think we already spoke about this. I said it is very early on, obviously, so there's no reason yet to panic. But my spidey senses are tingling. I sense maybe Eric had absolutely nothing to do with his arrival. Um,
Casemiro and Ronaldo were looking pretty cheesed off,
yeah,
sitting on the bench today.
yeah, yeah.
Wasn't swapping, win multiple Champions Leagues at Real Madrid to just
Mm,
sitting on the bench and watching
hmm
United get destroyed by
Yeah.
their rivals.
With Ronnie, I think it's a coming of age thing as well. He needs to realize, like, he just needs to know his role now. I know mentality wise, he wants to be the main guy in that, but it is what it is.
Ten Hag basically said he was protecting him from his legacy after the game, so he's
Yeah.
basically saying that Ronaldo was done. That's
I think, well, do you know what? I interpreted it like this. I think what he's trying to say is he's too good for me to disrespect and bring on for 5 minute cameos, is probably what he's trying to say. And he can't give him more than that at the moment as well. So
yeah. Uh,
I think the
I,
only way to manage it is if you give him full games in the Europa, maybe.
yeah, I think Ronaldo could go in January the way things are going. But
Yeah. I fully expect the saga to continue in Jan.
yeah,
Once the World Cup is concluded, yeah, I think that might be best for everyone.
but yeah, McTominay was all his limitations were,
Yeah,
were, were laid out
yeah,
today
yeah,
by Man City.
yeah.
You cannot play against a team of that quality without an out and out holding midfield player. You
No,
can't.
and it's crazy because on paper we have one. We have one of the best in the world sat on the bench.
Yeah, it just makes no
It's
sense.
it's mind-boggling, isn't it? In a game like this, you'd think, yeah, at the highest level he got exposed today, and that is the problem. Once in a while, he can be a very useful role player. We saw what he can do against Arsenal. But the thing is, when push comes to shove, you need to have the talent. It's all good and well having passion and desire and running about and stuff, but with no end product, we're going to see more of what we saw today, unfortunately.
Yeah, what we saw today from him and
Mm.
Bruno and Christian Eriksen was whenever we gained possession in the middle of the park, the the right away they looked for the Hollywood ball
Yes. Yes,
rather
they
than
don't
just
do
keeping
the
it simple.
simple thing. And I'll tell you what, it was the polar opposite, Carl, when you see them lot play. The way they string simple passes together, they don't complicate things.
Yeah, we're almost too eager to try and create a chance on the counter attack. Just
Yeah.
take your time and
Hmm.
look for the simple ball. But
Yeah,
every
it
time they're playing
all
it over the
felt a
top,
bit
playing diagonal
rushed.
balls.
All
Yeah,
felt a bit rushed. I think we gave them way too much respect from the start.
yeah, it was very very disappointing.
Yeah,
Because we just every time we got an opportunity, we just give it away immediately
yeah, yeah,
by playing it like an ambitious ball. It really should have been, just keep possession and just like you say, do what City done. Just move it quickly, short
hmm,
passing, not playing it diagonally or over the top and playing it into the channels. Or it just didn't work. And Rashford was terrible today, and so was
yeah.
Sancho, by the way, absolutely
Oh,
awful.
did you see him in the game?
No.
Yeah, this is what. Yeah, this is what I've been asking everyone. Where was Sancho? Oh, yeah, terrible, terrible game, terrible game.
Yeah, I don't think Anthony was that brilliant either, but he
No.
scored a brilliant goal, so
Oh
he
yeah,
kind of gets
it was
away with it.
something out of nothing, which was absolutely fantastic. Yeah, his decision making as well is a bit questionable, Anthony.
Yeah, like we've said it already. He's going to
Mm.
frustrate, and then he's going to be
Yeah, yeah,
sublime.
yeah, and
We
that's
got a
pretty much what it is, isn't it?
we got a bit of everything today from Anthony,
Yeah,
really, didn't we? Um, yeah, it wasn't a great day, and the fullbacks got just absolutely ruined today by
yeah,
like the Foden and Grealish, and
yeah.
uh, I
I wasn't happy with seeing how comfortable their fullbacks were. Just casually wandering in and dictating our midfield.
yeah,
So
there
I
was
saw
also an issue.
I saw
You know,
Kyle Walker in the middle of the park a lot of the time, just freely making passes and moving about. Ah,
And you have a situation where Cancelo's getting forward and Anthony's not tracking the run, and
yeah.
Dalo's then being in a 2-on-1 situation.
Mm,
That's that has to be worked on. We
yeah.
can't be having that
And
now.
and with Dallo, I worry as well because at least with Malacia, he gets a break because Shaw's there. But I don't think there is anyone
There's
to
no
back up.
cover, man.
There's no cover for Dallo, so that's worrying.
And the manager has shown already he will be willing to play literally anyone but Wan-Bissaka at right back.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. And I think that the club have to pay attention to these things now, because in the summer, I think even though Eric made it clear who he wants to keep and who he wants to let go, they probably thought, oh, you know what, he'll work with what he has. But now it's clear to see that he can't work with what he has. So if he's cut people out, then there's no point in keeping them.
Yeah, and he's also doing something with the goalkeeper that he doesn't particularly like to do, which
Mm,
is seemingly asking the keeper to kick it long, which obviously
hmm.
he doesn't want to do that in an ideal
Yeah,
world. But
yeah,
the guy is not going to scoop the ball over a City player to the fullback because it's too risky. He's just going
yeah.
to launch it into the other half of the pitch, and Ten Hag doesn't really want his goalkeeper doing that.
Yeah, and again, that's only an issue that's going to change with a change of personnel. So
Yeah,
the worrying thing for us is the fact that Murto's come out and already dampened expectations going forward with regards to transfers, because he said that don't expect spending similar to what we did this summer, or either price wise or in volume. So already in Jan, I'm not really looking forward to it.
I don't think anything's going to happen in January.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I just hope by next summer the Glazers are gone, but that's probably wishful thinking.
Yeah, I
Um,
think that's the one thing that the whole fan base can agree on. I don't think anyone's in favor of them. So yeah, if we can get rid of them, that would be fantastic.
yeah, that's crucial.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, no positives really apart from the consolation goals.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, I suppose Anthony Martial coming off the bench and getting
yeah.
a couple of goals. Uh, a great centre forward play.
Mm,
Fred had the initial shot that was saved by Ederson, and
yep.
then he headed it down into the net.
R- r-
Actually,
r- Listen, right place, right time. It's instinctive. So yeah, credit to him for that.
nice to see him get a proper number nine's goal, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And this penalty was magnificent. No keeper in the goal in the
Oh
world's
yeah, it
going
was
to save that.
fantastic penalty, and he's the one that won it as well, and to have the confidence to take it, and I think he had to tell one or two of the others that he's taking it.
So does he walk into the team now for you?
For me, yes. For me, if he's fully fit, he starts.
Yeah, because the form of Rashford and Sancho isn't great.
No.
In fact, I didn't agree with Rashford winning the Premier League Player of the Month award. And it's telling that Christian Eriksen actually won the United Player of the Month award,
Yeah.
and that's because United fans vote on that, and we know best. And for me, United's best player was Eriksen, not
Mm.
Rashford. So
Yeah, I think people were blinded by the goals. So yeah, that masquerades over everything else, doesn't it? So
yeah, and how can you win Player of the Month when your last game was the fourth day of that month?
yeah.
That's strange.
Yeah, very strange.
Um, yeah, so that's not great from Rashford. I know he's had a couple of good games at home to Liverpool and Arsenal, but other than that,
Hmm.
he's been crap.
Yeah,
If I'm being brutally honest.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
he needs to drop out of the team, and Sancho should as well. I imagine
Yeah.
Ronaldo will come in the Europa League games
Mm.
um, against Everton. It doesn't look like Ten Hag's going to play him in any Premier League games. So imagine if Martial comes in against Everton, uh, one of Sancho or Rashford will drop out, um, and one of them will actually stay in the team, even though they probably don't deserve to after today's
Mm.
performance. I can't see Alanga coming into the 11 for me. That's just not likely at all.
No.
Um, Ranić loved him, but I don't think Ten Hag has the same love for him. So he's just going to be a squad player. Um, yeah, I expect this. I won't. I don't expect to see wholesale changes for the Everton game, but I expect to see at least three. And
Mm.
Casemiro and Martial have to be two of those. And I have a feeling that he'll start Luke Shaw ahead of Malacia now for at least a short period anyway. Um,
I think the Europa game on Thursday will give us an indication to how what changes he's going to make for Sunday.
Yeah, I have to admit these Europa League games are just a chore, really. I
Yeah.
don't they don't excite me at all. The kickoff
Mm.
times are bizarre.
Yeah.
The opposition is crap, and it's a
And we still struggle to overcome them.
yeah, yeah, uh,
Yeah,
yeah.
for
There's
me,
just
it's just an opportunity for certain players to get a chance. But even then, the players I want to see aren't really being given a chance. I want to see like Palestri play.
yeah. That would be. He's on the bench today, so
Yeah, yeah. So if he could start against Amona, I think that's how you say
interesting
it. Yeah.
to leave Garnacho out and put Palestra on the bench. That was a change I wasn't really expecting, but
Mm.
could be an opportunity now for Palestra to maybe start in the Europa League.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
And listen, the opportunity is there for him, especially with Sancho just not doing anything.
yeah, Sancho is another one. This just like Rashford, he's had a two or three good
Mm.
games where he scored in, but other than that, he's been absolutely
Yeah, yeah.
shit.
We've seen glimpses, but yeah, he needs to do a lot more. A
Yeah,
lot
not
more.
doing enough. He was
Yeah.
when he came up against quality opposition today. He was non-existent.
He's just missing, absolutely missing. And I'll tell you what, it's not about the goals and assists either. You can have a good game without either of those things. Jack Grealish today made himself a right nuisance. Just
Yeah,
getting into good areas, getting brought down in good areas, winning dangerous set pieces. There's other ways to be effective, and we're just not getting anything out of Sancho at the moment.
yeah, he was direct, Grealish.
Yeah,
Especially when Dollar was on the yellow, he knew that he
yeah,
could
yeah.
possibly get him sent off.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what he was trying to do as well. With you just very direct with it, trying to get at
And
him,
then,
run past.
you mentioned earlier the Gudowan free kick that hit the post. That was
Mm.
because Martinez clattered into Grealish when he was on those
Yeah,
crazy
it
runs.
was. Yeah, it was. Yeah, yeah.
And
So, mm,
it's taking a bit of time for Grealish to get going at City, but it seems like
yeah,
he's looking pretty hot right now.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. It works well. It
I
works well.
suppose we also have to. We were critical of the United players today, but you also have to give credit where it's due. City are just an unbelievable team, and some of the goals were just out of this world, like weren't they?
Oh, absolutely. That connection that De Bruyne is building with Haaland is disgustingly good.
Yeah, and any Arsenal fan who thinks they're going to win the league need to get a reality check.
Listen, I think they've been through a lot of heartache, and they're just enjoying every moment whilst they remain top. It's not going to last for long.
No, City will be top by the time the World Cup comes around,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I imagine that City will win the league by about 10 or 15 points at least.
Mm, I'm not sure if it will be that high, but I definitely see them winning the league. Yeah, it probably will be a double point haul by the
Yeah,
end of it.
because I
Gap
don't think
between.
I don't think Arsenal will
Yeah.
be able to compete with them the way Liverpool have done in recent seasons, and Liverpool have just fallen
No.
away completely.
Yeah. For me, Liverpool, I think it's taken a massive toll on them psychologically, missing out on that on either of the big trophies last season, because they were, a week away from an unprecedented quadruple to end up with just a domestic double. Um,
Yeah, and you see players like Trent and Van Dijk
yeah,
not sprinting anymore. They're
yeah,
not.
yeah. I think that's the other thing as well. You need to keep the squad hungry. You need to add to it. And with FSG's ownership, they're under purse strings. They have
And
to sell to buy, and I don't think they can rebuild the way they really want to.
the majority of their midfield are in their 30s or injury prone.
Yeah, that's the
Um,
other thing as well. With that high intensity pressing game that Klopp likes to play, I think a few of those key players are past it now.
and Mane is a huge loss. I know it's obvious,
Yeah,
but I mean, I think last season he was probably more important than Salah, and he's
yeah,
gone now. Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Fantastic player. But then the one thing I do agree with, though, I think listen, he's given them 6 years. He's won everything. He asked to leave because he wanted a new challenge, and you got. I think they got their money back and then some. So like business wise, it was a good deal because from 30 onwards, your value is only going to decline and ability on paper.
yeah, but Liverpool are declining at the same time.
Yeah,
Uh,
but yeah, that's the thing. They're all declining at the same time. Yeah, Trent and Van Dijk, I don't know what's happened to them. Terrible, terrible. And yeah, Salah, he's playing slightly differently this season, and it's not working.
well, that's another positive. At least Liverpool aren't doing well.
Well, yeah, got to take these little victories when we can. We're 2 points ahead of them currently.
It
Ah,
is unbelievable considering we've lost 4-0 to Brentford, 6-3 to City.
yeah,
That's and we're still
lost
ahead
to
of Liverpool
Brighton
in the
too.
table.
Yeah,
Yeah, and yeah, yesterday they come back from 2-0 down against Brighton and still didn't win the
yeah,
game.
yeah, yeah,
Trossard scored so many goals, hasn't he?
yeah,
He hat trick yesterday, and he's the guy that always scores against United as well, isn't he? If
yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
mistaken. Yeah.
Him and Pascal Groves always turn up. Uh,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I thought Brighton might struggle after Graham Potter left. But, yeah, they seem to have just continued ticking along.
Yeah, and Chelsea aren't pulling up any trees, at the moment.
No,
Anyway.
Chelsea infuriate me. They always find a way to just jam their way to victory.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Palace, it was a hero
Yeah,
from last season. He
yeah,
scored.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a very good finish, but yeah, upsetting. Yeah, it just infuriates me because Chelsea they should drop points, but they don't.
Yeah, but I still think top four is wide open now, isn't it? The only
Yeah,
guarantee really is
yeah,
City, I would say.
yeah. That same. It's one of those seasons where at the start I thought it's going to be the same old. It's going to be two-horse race between City and Liverpool, but yeah, Liverpool have had an indifferent start, and this season it's. I kind of see it similar to the one where we finished second, but like 20 points apart, or like the one where Leicester won, where it's just wide open. Yeah, City are the only team I can see that are capable of going on like a 20-match run. So there's no doubt in my mind that eventually they'll wrap it up. As for the rest, it's a free for all. It's yours to take.
Yeah, I can see a scenario where the makeup of the top four will keep changing throughout the season.
Yeah, yeah. I think Arsenal would probably be very disappointed if they don't make the top four now from the position they're in, and
Yeah,
they absolutely should.
they've won 7 of the first 8 games, so
Yeah,
something like
yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah,
you should make it. They, yeah, they'd be hugely disappointed if they don't do it
mm.
now. But it would just be like them to finish fifth
Yeah.
after
It
this.
would especially because that's the thing because they're into their third year of their process. So now it's not a thing where they can prioritize the league over cups and stuff. You have to fight on all fronts. Like I'm sure Arteta will have one eye on Europa League, and he'll want that.
Yeah, they haven't got the excuse that we have. We can say Ten Hag's
Yeah,
only 8 games in
yeah.
and City are miles ahead of us.
Yeah, they've
Uh,
spent a lot of money, they've invested, they believed in him, and it's their third season under him. So now, and we have to forget, like in his managerial career, he's very young, so he will want trophies. He's got an FA Cup ticked off. He'll want that Europa.
Yeah, he will, and so will Ten Hag. Actually, you would think.
Yeah,
So who knows? Maybe we might meet them in the Europa League in the knockout
yeah,
stages.
yeah. It's going to be
Um,
interesting because obviously, it depends who drops down from the Champions League as well, and there might be a few surprises. There might be a few very good teams that come down to Europa.
yeah, certainly. There'll definitely be one or two.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm just going to do a quick rundown of the player ratings.
Mm.
Unfortunately,
Mm.
um, so David De Gea, I'm just going to go. He wasn't the
What's
worst
what's
performance by him.
the what's the minimum for turning up?
Yeah, it's 6 goals, even though he didn't make
Yeah.
any errors. I was just going to say 4, to be honest
Mm.
with you. Dallo probably gets a 3, Varane a 4, Martinez a 4, Malassi a 2, Anthony, because of the goal, I'll give him a 5, McTominay a 2, Ericsson, his first bad game, I would say, in United
Mm.
shirt. I go with a 3 there. Bruno, probably not the worst player on the pitch, but not great either. So I
Mm.
would say 4. Sancho probably a 1, and Rashford a 1 as well. They were absolutely awful. In terms of the substitutes, Luke Shaw come on half time. He did okay, so I would give him maybe a 6. Lindelof had to replace the injured Varane. No, it wasn't much of an improvement there, so probably a 4.
What about Anthony? What's Anthony getting?
I gave Anthony I give him a 5 because of the goal.
Mm.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anthony Martial probably gets an 8 for his cameo performance.
Mm.
To be honest with you,
Yeah.
and Fred came on for Sancho. Fred, I don't know. Fred probably gets a 5, and Casemiro probably a 5 as well. So Ten Hag, I'm afraid if we're going to give him a rating, it wouldn't be high.
No, he got it totally wrong today.
He did. He probably gets a 2, I would say, I'm
Mm.
afraid.
Yeah.
So a very chastising afternoon. We got it. We beat Arsenal and Liverpool, and we won 4 games in a row. And we gained a lot of confidence from that. But it was fragile
Mm.
confidence. It wasn't.
Yeah, and listen, we're so early in what we're trying to build, and yeah, we need to look at everything. Like the build up to this was not great. We mentioned the two fixtures that got postponed; those were much needed in order to build up and generate momentum going into this one. So to be robbed of that was not ideal. And then the international break and everything, and then also we played one of the best teams in the world. Like we can't forget that.
Yeah, we've had 2 Europa League games and no Premier League games in the last month.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
it,
that's it.
and, and no games at all for 2.5 weeks.
Exactly.
So yeah, it wasn't ideal preparation, but
Yeah,
we can't
and
have
with
any
the
excuses.
players traveling for internationals as well and coming back from here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah, yeah, it wasn't ideal preparation, but we can't have any excuses. We were very much second
Yeah.
best, and
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah. Even if we played slightly different, even if we'd started Casemiro over Scotty, say, I don't think the overall result would have changed by much.
yeah, or even if Martial started ahead of Rashford as
Yeah,
well, I
yeah.
don't think
No,
it would have altered the who
no.
got the three
Yeah.
points.
Ultimately, it wouldn't have changed much. But yeah. But what it is a it's a learning curve for Eric. So
Yeah, we know we're well off the
yeah,
pace. Man City would probably destroy everyone at the Etihad this season, I imagine.
yeah, yeah.
So we got to take some heart from that. Yeah, it's not great, but when we play them at Old Trafford, I want to see an improvement. I think that is mid January.
Mm,
Hopefully we can get a result in that game. It's
yeah.
obviously difficult away
It's
from home, but
yeah.
what's strange is that actually we have a better record away against City than what we have at Old Trafford.
Yeah, the record away actually on paper before today it wasn't bad at all. I think we only lost like two of the last eight, the previous eight,
And
to
I
them.
heard a stat at the start of the game that
Mm,
the home team in this fixture have only won 4 of the last 18.
mm,
Um, but that's going. We have to change that this
Yeah,
season because
yeah,
we can't get beat 6-3 at Old Trafford as well.
yeah. No, no, no. Yeah,
Mm, yeah, uh, yeah, and you know. Getting hammered by City is so regular now that and I wouldn't even say it hurts anymore. You kind of just,
yeah.
you
I
kind of
mean,
know
when it was
there's a chance.
at half time, mate, I was just like, how many times have we held four now over the last couple of years? Ugh.
Yeah, uh, yeah, we've been thrashed twice in a row now at the Etihad.
Mm,
Um,
hmm.
we last season at Old Trafford they just toyed with us, even though it was only 2-0. That doesn't really tell the story.
Yeah, but again, it was the same story, wasn't it? It was men against boys.
Yeah, it feels like I think
What's disheartening this time round is that this, like you say, was pretty much our main 11.
yeah, we haven't beaten them now since the behind closed door match where Luke
Yeah.
Shaw scored
Mm,
and like a 2-0 win. That feels like a long time ago now.
hmm.
Unfortunately, yeah, there was a while there on this. I joked on Twitter that can we bring back Solskjaer just for the derbies because he used to do really well in those
Because
games.
it was the one game where, yeah, it would work perfectly because he would be very cautious and we were just set to counter attack.
Yeah, yeah, we won so many of the games against
Yeah,
City when Solskjaer was there playing on the counter, but didn't happen today.
yeah.
Yeah, it was. I just had to move on.
Yeah, the only positive I can take away is that, listen, we're not going to be playing Man City every week.
No,
As long as we beat the majority of the others, it will be fine. Um,
we would
and
probably be come up against nobody else who's as good as that this season.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, pretty much. So that's where we're at with it. Yeah, these things are going to happen. It's all about how we respond to it. Long term, until the personnel changes happen, I can't really say too much more because Eric needs that.
yeah. So the Everton game now is absolutely must win now. That's
Yeah,
essential.
that's imperative. Yeah, listen, depending on the fitness, yeah, if you have to rotate completely for Europa, do that. But the Everton game, you have to win that.
And in terms of the Chelsea and Tottenham games coming up this month, also,
Mm.
we have to be unbeaten in those games. We can't lose a
Yes,
fourth league game.
that's back to back, isn't it? We've got Spurs and then Chelsea.
Yeah,
I think 16th and 22nd, or no, or something like that. 18th and 22nd, I think.
yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's a tough pair of games there,
yeah,
and
yeah. Because we've got a game on the 14th, the 18th, and the 22nd. Because I saw that on the list and I was like, oh, that's crazy.
I've heard that the Leeds game could still be squeezed in somewhere between the league
Oh
game and the
wow,
Europa League game.
madness.
Yeah. So there's a situation where we could be playing on a Sunday, then Leeds on a Tuesday night, and then the Europa League game on a Thursday night.
That's
Something crazy.
craziness. That is crazy. Wow.
If the Premier League do that to us,
Yeah.
then it's completely unfair. Because
Mm,
the cancellation of the Leeds game had nothing to do with us at all.
yeah.
Um, it has to be more fair than that. You can't. I've it's been very few occasions where I can remember something like that happening. I remember in 2007
Mm,
where I think we had a league game on the Saturday and then like an FA Cup replay on the Monday night.
yeah.
Um, and then in the 90s, I believe there was a game at Anfield on the Sunday and then a League Cup game on the Monday night.
Mm,
And that sequence was became famous because Scholes didn't play in the league game at Anfield, and
yeah.
then the next night in the League Cup game, he refused to play, and
Mm,
he was fined 2 weeks' wages, and he actually said himself on the overlap there with Gary Neville that he thought that was the end of his United career, but
yeah.
Ferguson just let him away with it. I think there's certain people, and we're getting a bit off topic, obviously, but there's certain people where Fergie would allow them away with things like Scholes and
Yes.
but
Depending on your talent, there was definitely certain things that you could get away with.
and maybe personality as well. People that he favored, he would
Yeah.
let them away with things like Ronaldo's kind of descent or petulance. He would let him off. But
Mm,
do you see if see if Tevez did that, refused to play
Yeah,
any game, you never would have been seen again. Like he didn't
yeah,
affect him at all, did he?
yeah,
Um, yeah, I forgot all about that. But yeah, uh, we're going to have to see a scenario like that again, where we're playing, in the league at the weekend, then and then a couple of days later playing another game, and then another game. And it's in fact it's even worse than that. 3 games in basically 4 days or something like
yeah.
that.
It's gonna get messy. Obviously, if that Sociedad game is anything to go on, because we saw what happens when we rotate out and the backup comes in. Uh, yeah, so that's the concern.
Yeah, if we are going to be faced with that scenario, no guarantee that we will. There's just
Mm.
been the odd rumor about it, but I hope it's against. I hope the Europa League game that follows that Leeds game is against one of the minnows, not against Sociedad. I don't want to see that happening, uh,
Yeah, yeah.
because
That's the one game where we have to turn up with,
the full
most
team.
of our. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because if we were playing Leeds on the Tuesday and Sociedad on the Thursday, one of those games is going to have to be the reserves, and our reserves, like we saw in the
yeah,
first game against
yeah.
Sociedad, is simply not up to the task. So yeah, that is. Hopefully that doesn't happen in the
Yeah,
Leeds game.
especially because you have to be very careful the way you end up in that Europa League group table. Because if we're second, I think we face the Champions League team dropping down, right?
Yeah, and we have to play an extra round. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. See, yeah, and that's yeah. I'm not in favor of that. Also with the FA Cup and stuff, I think they're bringing back replays. I don't know why. I don't know why they're bringing back
that
replays.
is the wrong season to be doing that now.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm one of these people. Even in the League Cup, I would like them to do away with the second leg in the later rounds.
Yeah, and there's only one League Cup game I think between now and the turn of the year. So where
Mm.
are they going to fit all that in the new year?
Yeah, I just no idea, no idea. Because obviously, the players need a few weeks off as well after the World Cup and that.
Couldn't they
Uh,
have just abandoned the League Cup this season,
mm.
or even just altogether? You would miss it. Uh,
I think the lower league teams would probably suffer by way of revenue.
yeah, I suppose
So,
so.
so that's the thing. I don't
Because
mind it as such. I mean, I used to like it back in the day because that's when we used to see our youngsters be given a chance. It was always an opportunity to see them. Yeah, they only started taking it seriously, the bigger clubs, because of the amount of competition for everything, and you can at least say at the end of the season that you've won something.
yeah, but this season is just off the scale in terms of the amount of games.
Yeah,
Uh, the World Cup in the middle of the season, we knew this was coming for about 10 years, but
yeah.
now it's upon us and it's just chaos.
It's absolutely mental. Why it wasn't flagged sooner, I don't know. I mean, when they put the bid in, it was under the pretense of doing it in the summer, despite the fact that these concerns that everyone had about the weather and whatnot. They gave reassurances that, oh no, we're going to have retractable roofs. There's going to be temperature controlled stadiums. It's going to be fine. And then for them to just, pull the rug from under everyone and tear up the entire European domestic footballing calendar with not a care in the world. It's absolute madness.
Yeah, and the people at FIFA who are responsible for this are no longer even in charge of
Yeah,
FIFA.
yeah, and they've been done for all kinds of corruption and things. The likes of Sepp Blatter, Michel Platini, they've all got a lot to answer for,
Yeah, and they're still trying to get back into the game.
which is it's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, they should have nothing to do with football from now on.
Yeah,
Those guys. Yeah, they're just mercenaries.
mm,
Um,
pretty
but
much.
yeah, so not a great day, but I'm not going to get too downhearted. We're
Yeah,
playing against probably the best team in Europe, who have the best player in Europe.
mm,
He's a freak of nature. So it was, and in hindsight, it was always going to be a game that it was an 80% chance we would lose today, and there was a
yeah,
good chance that we'd lose badly.
mm,
I think just because of those run of results we had in August, September, we beating Arsenal, Liverpool, we thought that we'd have a chance today. But I suppose it's our right as football fans to delude ourselves, but we, we were brought back down to earth.
Yeah, I think that's what it is, isn't it? Yeah, because you try and look for weaknesses in the armor, and you saw that defense, and you saw the amount of goals they were conceding, and you were like, oh, these lot, you can get at these lot. But then, obviously, on the other hand, uh, you know, the damage they can do in 10 minutes is absolutely devastating, and
Yeah,
that's pretty much what we witnessed this season.
I did say on a previous podcast when we talked about this fixture that we can get at them, we can score goals, but Haaland would probably get them out of trouble. That was what I
Yeah,
was worried about.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, and the
and
fact that for them as well, mentality wise, they don't mind conceding now because they know they can get back into game. They did it against Crystal Palace. They came back into it against Newcastle. Um, yeah, they know they
yeah,
can hurt you.
even when Anthony brought it back to 4-1, they then
Yeah,
upped it another couple of gears to
yeah,
score another.
yeah. That's what it is. It's like they're on cruise control until they really need to turn it on.
Yeah, so today it taught us that we're nowhere near winning a Premier League, nowhere
Oh,
near.
oh hell no.
So forget about that. We're very much still in the top four battle, and if we can pick up a cup along the way, that would be fantastic. But
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I say, it's so very early on. All we're looking for is gradual improvement. And
yeah,
today was a test to see where we are, and we're not where we want to be, obviously.
and you mentioned transfers earlier. I think
Yeah,
the priority next summer would be the spine. I would say the goalkeeper,
mm.
midfield, and a striker. Yeah, that would be the three priorities for me.
Yes, yes, yeah. The striker and goalkeeper, yeah, yeah. Ronaldo and De Gea both need to go, and we
And
need
I,
to
and
replace them.
and get someone like Bellingham in if possible.
Mm,
Because Christian Eriksen is not going to last too much longer. At the
no,
top level.
no. And then also, wage structure is something we need to look at, but that's something that these lot don't care about. And I say that because of the 300 grand a week they've handed to Casemiro.
Yeah, and Ronaldo plus De Gea equates for like 800 grand a week or something.
Yeah, it's crazy, crazy. De Gea is the highest paid goalkeeper in the world, I believe, on his
Uh,
375 grand
we
contract.
let we let go of Pogba, Lingard, Matic, Mata, Cavani, and the wage bill went up. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah, it's bad business, isn't it? I mean, Jadon Sancho is on 350. Make it make sense. Make it
Oh
make
no!
sense. Um, in comparison, Anthony is on 200. So
Even that's too much for a player of his experience.
even that it is too much. But I guess if you're his agent, you'd argue, listen, you've got Jaden who's similar on 350. So
And I
I'm well
think
within reason to ask for 200.
I
Uh,
think after that massive splurge in the window that we were
yeah.
warned not to expect again, I think that the debt is going to go up even further
Yeah,
in the next 12 months.
and this is my issue when you're signing players and stuff. Well, you tell us not to expect another splurge like that. Well, if you're going to be that cautious with spending, then why not take your time and identify the right players?
Yeah,
Then what is the point in going and dropping all this money on Casemiro, who is a player for the here and now? He turns 31 in February.
yeah,
When you sign a player like that with all the accolades that he's won, that comes with the big reputation and the big wages, you don't have a settling in period.
yeah. It was desperation as well.
Yeah,
Bring
yeah.
bringing
It
in
just,
Casemiro.
yeah, it made no sense. I mean, I bet Florentino Perez is laughing all the way to the bank because we essentially, balance the books of them signing Chouameni, who is going to be at the center of their midfield for the next decade.
Yeah, and they got Camavinga as well.
Yeah,
They've,
yeah.
they're slowly rebuilding the great midfield that they had that won all the Champions League.
Exactly. See, they've got two major pieces there going forward, and they're in a position next summer where they could probably speak to Jude Bellingham and be like, "Listen, would you like to come and join this too and become the next trio?"
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see where Bellingham goes. I hope we have to try, but we never get players over the line when we have competition. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
The
not
only
keen
way
on
we
that.
would get him is if we massively overpay, and that is something typical of United. It would be a
Yeah,
United thing to do.
and we'd have to be in the top four, 100%.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah. So you speaking of scouting, Did you see Benjamin Sesko's goal for Slovenia during the
Oh, it was
international break?
brilliant, wasn't it? It was absolutely brilliant. And I think I remember talking to you about it. And I did say, I was like, this is a kid who, if you can get him for 20 to 25 million, you sign him and you loan him back and you let him continue his development. And that's essentially what Leipzig have done. Leipzig have sorted the deal out. They've let him stay out at Salzburg. In the meantime, they went and got Timo Werner, who's a proven quantity in the Bundesliga. And essentially, in those two moves, they've already replaced Nkunku, who they're going to lose.
Yeah, and I think that deal's already done. He's just going to swap.
To Chelsea, apparently. Or that's the rumors. Rumors are saying that he's already agreed terms or something with Chelsea. I know he's got a release clause around 52 million.
Oh, Nkunku, yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But in terms of Benjamin Sesko,
yeah.
I think he's going to go from one Red Bull to the other next season. So we can't even
Yes.
buy him next summer. It doesn't
No,
look
no.
like it
So
now.
yeah, he's going from Salzburg to Leipzig, and that
Yeah,
deal's already done. And that's the right step for him career wise. Like, next step up is Bundesliga. You spend 1-2 years there, and then if you kick on, then you make the real big move into one of the other big European leagues.
yeah, that's right.
And then there'll be an opportunity as well. But we have to make sure that we get things right so that we're in a position where we can even compete.
Yeah, we have to get ourselves into the fourth spot, even if it's only on goal difference on the final day. We have to
Yeah,
finish in the top four of the season because
yeah.
not only from a footballing point of view, but in terms of financially,
Oh,
the,
that's the only reason why
yeah,
it's relevant. Yeah, it's all to do with the
the,
finances, the revenue, the deals
the,
as well.
the Adidas money will be cut by
Yes,
30%.
yes, all of that is the reason why it's important to be in Europe's top tier competition.
Okay, guys, well, we'll wrap it up there. And please subscribe to the channel and comment your thoughts down below and give us a wee like on the video. And we'll see everyone again during the week. Okay, see you later, Brush.
Bye, take care.